If you're a college player and you're a great college player, like Caitlin was, the delusional fan base that follows her disrespected the WNBA players by saying she's going to go in that league and tear it apart. There were actually odds on she's third or fourth in betting odds on being MVP of the WNBA. These people are so disrespectful and so unknowledgeable and so stupid that it gives women's basketball a bad name. Okay, so the kid was set up for failure right from the beginning.
Remember when Geno Auriemma thought he had Caitlin Clark all figured out? He called her flashy and claimed she wasn't ready to make a real impact in basketball. He even said her fan base was living in a fantasy. But reality has a funny way of proving people wrong, and it hit Geno hard on live TV, no less. The same Caitlin Clark he doubted has shattered every expectation, turning skeptics into fans. And now, Geno is one of her most unexpected supporters.
Kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league, and she's a rookie.
Clark's freshman season wasn't just good, it was groundbreaking. She had electrifying performances, smashed records, and silenced critics in the best way possible on the court. Even her harshest doubters couldn't deny her talent. Geno, a coaching legend known for strong opinions, went from doubting her to offering admiration. But how did this happen? How did a legendary coach go from questioning Clark to acknowledging her greatness? The backstory is just as fascinating as the change itself.
Baby, if Caitlin Clark is on the team, it becomes the right team. Because Caitlin Clark is on it. It's like saying Michael Jordan's not on the right team. It's the right team if Michael Jordan is on the roster.
It all started with a bold statement that shocked the basketball world. On the Dan Patrick Show, Geno didn't hold back. He criticized Clark's fan base, calling them delusional and saying they were setting her up for failure. He claimed Clark wasn't built for the physicality of the WNBA and didn't have the quickness to deal with its tough defenders.
What does bother me is some of the people I deeply respect, their basketball credentials, their basketball history, their commitment to basketball and women's basketball, I think have really not covered themselves in glory with some of this commentary.
To understand Geno's doubts, you need to look back at Clark's college days at Iowa. She wasn't just a star, she was a phenomenon. Her long-range shooting was jaw-dropping, her leadership made Iowa a national contender, and her scoring ability had everyone talking. By the time she was picked first in the 2024 WNBA draft, she was already a household name. But Geno wasn't impressed. To him, success in college didn't guarantee dominance in the pros, especially if you weren't from UConn.
Diana said it best. This kid's in for a rude awakening.
The basketball world quickly took sides. Clark's supporters highlighted her relentless work ethic, high basketball IQ, and clutch performances. Critics, including WNBA legend Diana Taurasi, agreed with Geno, questioning if her brilliance in college would translate to the fast-paced, physical world of professional basketball. The pressure on Clark to prove herself was immense.
Like I said earlier, they actually had odds that, she was like third or fourth in the betting odds to be MVP of the WNBA. That's such a slap in the face to every WNBA player. It's unbelievable.
But if there's one thing Caitlin Clark has always done, it's rise to the occasion. Her determination set the stage for one of the most unforgettable debut seasons in WNBA history. Leading the Indiana Fever, Clark didn't just meet expectations, she crushed them. She averaged 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and over 5 rebounds per game. Her offensive skills turned heads, but her ability to elevate teammates and control games left critics speechless. Along the way, she set an unprecedented 62 records, silencing even her loudest doubters.
You never know how quickly they're going to adapt to the WNBA game coming from college. And I think that Caitlin has done surprisingly well, how quickly she's adapted to this game. There's a lot of doubters out there, as we all know, and she has proved them all.
Clark's rookie season wasn't just about stats, it was about moments that defined her career. From buzzer beaters that caused wild celebrations to triple-doubles that went viral, Clark proved she wasn't just good, she was a star. Her poise under pressure and leadership made her one of the league's brightest players. The freshman slump Geno predicted never happened. Instead, he watched as Clark shattered every expectation. The question wasn't if she could handle the WNBA, but how far her star would rise.
The worst part about new fans, they have no perspective. There's no context. So they just say ridiculous nonsense.
Now, let's talk about Geno's change of heart. What made him go from doubting Clark to praising her? Was it her undeniable brilliance, or is there more to the story? Watching her dominate the WNBA could have changed his mind, but some aren't convinced his admiration is entirely genuine.
Rival League is picking up players and they're getting ready to make a big splash in January with this league.
Here's where things get interesting. Geno has a big financial stake in Unrivaled, a new 3-on-3 basketball league that's been aggressively pursuing Clark. The league sees her as a game-changer who could boost its popularity. And Geno's glowing comments about her came at just the right time, sparking speculation. Was his praise heartfelt, or a strategy to win her over? Even though Clark has already turned the league down, she could still attend games or publicly support it, instantly raising its profile.
Has decided not to do Unrivaled, even though Aaliyah Boston's doing it, Lexi Hull is doing it, Kate Martin is doing it, and despite all the rumors, and I'm sure the push that was put on her. But Clark has all the leverage in this situation, and I'm not saying she flexed it, but she was comfortable enough in her position to make the decision, and it appears that answer is no.
The timing of Geno's praise raised eyebrows. Was it genuine, or part of a long-term plan to get Clark involved with Unrivaled? During a game where Clark was in attendance to support Iowa, something unexpected happened. Fox College Hoops aired a tribute video, a heartfelt montage of her college highlights, paired with messages from former teammates, coaches, and even rivals. It was a celebration of her impact, and it didn't disappoint. The tribute featured kind words from basketball stars like Paige Bueckers and Juju Watkins, along with former coaches Lisa Bluder and Jan Jensen. Watkins, who played against Clark, spoke highly of her, saying,
"Unless you have been living under a rock, you have heard about Caitlin Clark.
She's just a generational player and makes everybody around her better."
Caitlin Clark will go down as one of the best to ever play the game.
Women's basketball is under the spotlight right now because of Caitlin, and I think that will have an impact for
changed the landscape, no question, he said during the segment, leaving viewers stunned. She's a phenomenon. I was mesmerized by her. Caitlin had the tongue out. She is feeling it tonight, folks. She broke stereotypes. She played with the flair. She played with the confidence, the swagger that I think few have played with. As Clark's brilliance continued to unfold, the weight of Auriemma's earlier skepticism became more apparent. His once firm stance looked increasingly out of step with reality, but this wasn't just about a
player. Good person as well. She's been great, and I'm really excited for her at this next stage in her career.
Caitlin Clark becomes the all-time leading scorer in major college basketball. Another forever moment for this transformational superstar.
Proud every time her face appeared. Clark for the win. Only comparable to her is Steph Curry. Well, she did break my assist record at Iowa, so that's something I have to live with my entire life. But I think what Caitlin Clark did is put eyes on our game. People that would never watch women's basketball are watching women's basketball now because of Caitlin Clark. The tribute wasn't just a celebration, it was a reckoning. It showed how far Clark had come from a player doubted by legends to one who forced them to rethink everything. It reinforced that her season was about more than just the numbers. It was about resilience, breaking barrier carriers, and bringing people together. And at the center of it all was Clark, as humble and focused as ever, continuing to inspire everyone around her. The college
Caitlin brought so much new attention to the rise in women's college basketball and the WNBA and women's sports in general. So I feel like the weight of the world is on her shoulders, and she just has this heavy burden to carry, and she does it with grace and humility.
Eating his words for months, he'd been the loudest voice of doubt, criticizing her readiness for the league and questioning her ability to thrive against professional competition. During a segment aired alongside Clark's tribute video, his comments carried something fans never thought they'd hear: genuine admiration, an incredible phenomenon that very rarely happens, and it certainly changed the landscape. No question, the once sharp-tongued remarks about Clark not being built for the physicality of the WNBA or his digs at her delusional fanbase were nowhere to be found. Instead, Auriemma openly acknowledged the undeniable impact she had made. She certainly Changed the landscape, no question, he said during the segment, leaving viewers stunned. She's a phenomenon. I was mesmerized by her. Caitlin had the tongue out. She is feeling it tonight, folks. She broke stereotypes. She played with the flair. She played with the confidence, the swagger that I think few have played with. As Clark's brilliance continued to unfold, the weight of Auriemma's earlier skepticism became more apparent. His once fan base included were just so thankful that we were part of that ride. Still, not everyone was quick to embrace his turnaround. Some fans dismissed his praise as little more than damage control, a way to save face in light of Clark's meteoric rise. Analysts were quick to weigh in, offering comments like, "This is Geno's version of admitting he was wrong without actually saying the words." Even respected basketball insiders pointed out how Auriemma's change of heart highlighted the sheer shift symbolized a broader cultural shift within the sport. Women's basketball was evolving, and so too was its audience's willingness to embrace fresh talent. Clark wasn't just playing the game, she was redefining it, forcing even her fiercest critics to re-evaluate their beliefs. Her season wasn't just a personal triumph, it was a turning point for the sport as a whole. Done so much to grow the game and inspire young girls to play. We're uplifting women basketball, and everybody's watching. I think Caitlin will be in the record books forever. She's an amazing immediate and impassioned. Clark's fans flocked to social media, flooding feeds with celebratory posts, tweets like, "Even Geno can't deny her greatness anymore, and this is the ultimate vindication for Caitlin," summed up the collective sentiment. Memes poking fun at Auriemma's change of heart quickly went viral, turning what could have been a quiet moment into an internet sensation. But beyond the memes and tweets, the moment carried deep
Clark for the win! My only comparable to her is Steph Curry.
Well, she did break my assist record at Iowa, so that's, something I have to live with my entire life. But I think what Caitlin Clark did is put eyes on our game. People that would never watch women's basketball are watching women's basketball now because of Caitlin Clark.
College career that Caitlin had ignited a tremendous amount of attention. Incredible phenomenon that very rarely happens, and it certainly changed the landscape. No.
I was mesmerized by her.
Caitlin had the tongue out. She is feeling it tonight, folks.
She broke stereotypes. She played with the flair. She played with the confidence, the swagger that I think few have played